bringing you the world for 20 years. This is CNN.
Welcome back to 20 years of stories. A moment ago, we watched the rescue of little Jessica McClure. That was on a Friday in the fall of 1987. Just 3 days later, the country's attention would suddenly shift from a backyard in Texas to a street in downtown Manhattan.
You know, you walk in the beginning of the day, just like anyone walking into work the beginning of the day, not knowing how the day is going to evolve. And the day evolved in a way where things got worse and worse and worse and worse.
This morning, the stock market has been in a free fall, and I use that word advisedly, right from the opening bell.
A statement rather blunt, right up front, to catch attention, to make sure it was very clear this was going to be a big day.
Quite clearly, we have a major sell-off in progress on Wall Street right now. Let's go back to the New York Stock Exchange and CNN Business News correspondent Jan Hopkins. Jan, tell us, just how bad is it?
Well, Stuart, what you're looking at now is the trading pit for IBM stock.
I was there. I was watching. I was reporting as it all fell apart, basically.
Incredible activity, a frenzy, and I would say some fear and panic going on.
The first thing I said to all of our people is I ask everybody to be very calm, understand now that when it becomes a situation this severe, that the messenger does become part of the message.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average is still way, way down, but it is not as bad as it was about a half hour ago.
You have to be extremely careful what language you used. Do not use the word crash. Do not be over-emotional. Do not do that, because you could be accused, rightly so I think, of talking the market down.
Here on the floor, you could see fear in the eyes of the traders. There was pushing, there was profanity.
You really, in the back of your head, kept thinking, when I walk out of here tonight, are people going to be jumping off buildings? I mean, what kind of impact is this going to have on people's lives?
The pace has actually picked up and probably will for the last half hour as we go into the closing.
Everybody thought back to 1929. Would this usher in another Great Depression?
Taking a look at some of these staggering numbers, the Dow Jones Industrial Average losing more than 500 points today.
Well, I wish I could say to you that as the market closed that day and we counted up the losses and mopped the blood from the floor of the exchanges, that I had some sort of far-reaching philosophical geoeconomic conclusion. I was frankly just happy to have survived the day and that the market had closed.
This is a special edition of Moneyline with Lou Dobbs.
If I'm not mistaken, the first time the word crash was used was when Lou Dobbs opened up Moneyline with a simple statement.
Good evening. The stock market today crashed.
We struggled mightily with the use of the word crash and resisted it as long as one possibly could for fear of adding to the story. But it was impossible to avoid the word after the day's events.
In subsequent days, there was an attempt to soften the image, to make it not a crash. Good heavens, that sounds like 1929. No, they wanted to call it a break, a market break. In other words, the natural progression of the stock market was somehow interrupted by this nasty break. I don't think it worked. I think people still recall the market crash of 1987, and rightly so, because it was a crash.
That was the first time a business story dominated the news on CNN. But the show Moneyline has been on the air from the beginning. Over 20 years, shows have come and gone. Here's another one, still going strong.
This is Style, and I'm Elsa Klench, with news from the design worlds of fashion, beauty, and decorating. We open the world of design to people around the world.
Fashion had never been covered on television the way Elsa had done it, taking us into the shows, onto the runways, behind the scenes.
Maybe we had 10 people who actually knew everything about the subject they were supposed to cover, and Elsa was one of them.
When we started, maybe for the first 5 years, we were the only television crew there. So there were so few crews. My big problem in the beginning was fashion shows are so set up, there are lots of chairs. So I would say, I need the space of 4 chairs for my camera. And they said, you want 4 chairs in the front row? And needless to say, I always got the 4 chair space, but it was sometimes a hassle. Designers really didn't understand the concept of television. But once we started, once they saw the far-reaching effect of it, there's never been a problem. There is nothing as exciting as a good collection. I can go in like many other fashion editors, tired, depressed, fed up. Once those good clothes come down the runway, the whole world changes. It is absolutely amazing the effect good design has on us.